Do you ever feel like your life keeps pulling you toward intensity, toward things other people avoid thinking about? Crisis, transformation, hidden truths, death, psychology, secrets, spirituality, the unseen forces behind human behavior, as if life is constantly trying to break you apart and rebuild you into someone deeper? Then the eighth house may be speaking loudly in your chart. The eighth house is one of the most misunderstood houses in astrology. People become afraid the moment they hear its name because it is associated with suffering, obstacles, sudden events, hidden karma, death, scandals, fear, emotional darkness, and loss of control. But the truth is far more complicated. A strong eighth house does not simply mean tragedy, it means intensity. It means life refuses to remain superficial. The eighth house is the realm of transformation. It governs everything hidden behind the surface of existence: secrets, trauma, inheritance, occult sciences, hidden wealth, sexuality, psychological depth, karmic debts, longevity, surgeries, mystical experiences, sudden reversals, and the mysterious process through which a person dies emotionally many times before becoming who they truly are. Most people want stable, predictable lives. The eighth house destroys predictability. And when this house becomes strong, life becomes powerful, but rarely simple. A strong eighth house can happen in many ways. The eighth lord becoming powerful, benefics or multiple planets occupying the eighth, strong aspects from Saturn or Jupiter, connections with the ascendant or Lagna, repetition in divisional charts, or intense Scorpio energy influencing the chart. When the eighth house is strong, the person usually develops unusual emotional depth very early in life. Even as children, they may notice things others ignore: hidden tensions, psychological undercurrents, family secrets, emotional pain inside people's smiles. They often become observant because life forces them to understand what lies beneath appearances. Many strong eighth house natives experience events that transform them permanently: emotional betrayals, losses, health crises, sudden endings, intense relationships, financial upheavals, or psychological breakdowns that later become breakthroughs. And slowly they stop seeing life in black and white. Because the eighth house teaches one difficult truth: everything changes. This house destroys false certainty. It pushes people toward surrender, toward inner evolution. That is why many people with strong eighth houses become interested in astrology, tantra, psychology, mysticism, healing, hidden sciences, research, spirituality, detective work, ancient knowledge, or the mysteries of life and death itself. They are rarely satisfied with surface level answers. A strong eighth house often creates a person who constantly asks, "What is really happening beneath this?" Superficial connections feel empty to them. They want emotional truth, intensity, soul level bonding. But this can also create emotional extremes: possessiveness, obsession, fear of betrayal, secrecy, or difficulty trusting people fully. Sometimes these natives go through repeated emotional rebirths. They become one version of themselves, life destroys it, and another version emerges, again and again. Their life may look chaotic from outside, but internally they are being reshaped continuously. This is why the eighth house is also linked with hidden power. People with strong eighth houses often survive things that would emotionally break others. They develop psychological endurance, a strange ability to walk through darkness and still continue. Many become healers precisely because they have suffered deeply themselves. Financially, the eighth house can also bring sudden gains or sudden losses: inheritance, insurance, spouse's wealth, joint finances, underground wealth, hidden assets, or money connected to secrecy may become important themes. Some experience dramatic rises and falls financially rather than stable gradual growth. And then comes the spiritual side of the eighth house, perhaps its deeper layer. This house dissolves ego attachment slowly. It forces people to confront fear: fear of loss, fear of abandonment, fear of death, fear of vulnerability, fear of losing control. Through these confrontations, the soul matures. That is why many spiritually evolved people have powerful eighth house influences. Because real transformation rarely comes from comfort, it comes from surrender. However, a strong eighth house must be handled carefully. If afflicted, it can create paranoia, emotional isolation, secretive behavior, destructive obsessions, addiction to chaos, manipulation, chronic anxiety, or attraction toward emotionally dangerous situations. Some people unconsciously recreate crises because intensity feels familiar to their nervous system, and sometimes the person feels misunderstood their entire life because the eighth house is private by nature. Others may only see fragments of who they truly are. The deepest emotions often remain hidden beneath silence, but when balanced well, this house creates extraordinary depth. These are the people who understand suffering, see through illusions, detect hidden motives, survive transformation, and emerge wiser from pain rather than destroyed by it. A strong eighth house is not an easy blessing, it is a heavy one, because such souls are rarely allowed to stay asleep. Life keeps forcing them inward, toward truth, toward emotional honesty, toward the hidden layers of existence most people spend their lives avoiding. And eventually, after enough destruction and rebuilding, they begin to realize something profound. The eighth house was never trying to punish them, it was trying to transform them.